We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Yeah, calling all warriors and troopers that's willing to step up and accept the challenge. Just got a question. Who's down to answer the call? We need to answer the call, right? You down to answer the call, right? I'm down to answer the call. We need some starters, yo. We need some thinkers, yo. As largest in charge, yo. We doing it major, yo. Who's down to answer the call? We down to answer the call. Putting our foot down on the neck of the devil, right? Our mentalities is to never get settled, right? So who's with us to take it to the next level? Take off on go mode like all gas, no brake pedal. Taking over city to city, going from state to state, invading the whole planet from the Pacific to Atlantic. What? We official, not artificial, pure and organic. Feeding you that manna, no manifest of that milk dress. Let's take SC out of sickle, turn the cell into well. Drop KLE out of ickle, add it with pasta for yum. Now what that spells? Say it. I'm well. How you feeling? We good. I'm well. Who's down to answer the call? We need to answer the call, right? You down to answer the call, right? I'm down to answer the call. We need some starters, yo. We need some thinkers, yo. As largest in charge, yo. We doing it major, yo. Who's down to answer the call? We down to answer the call. I say you and I can come together in unity, lay the foundation, straighten up our community. Under one yard, the creator who oversees. Sickle cell doesn't have us though we live with the disease. You and I can come together in unity, lay the foundation, straighten up our community. Under one yard, the creator who oversees. Sickle cell doesn't have us though we live with the disease.
We're calling you out.
Sickle cell warriors, leaders, doctors, and caregivers.
This is The Call.
Tune in to The Call Saturdays at 5 p.m. Pacific, only on LA Talk Live.
This is The Call.
To sickle cell trait awareness.
This is The Call.
To acceptance of yourself and others around you.
This is The Call.
To finding your purpose through creativity.
This is The Call.
To living above sickle cell.
This is the call to unity in community.
So call in 323-473-3100 to
The Call.
Saturdays 5 p.m. Pacific, only on LA Talk Live.
This is The Call.
All right. Thank you so much. This is The Call, and we want to welcome you to our next show here, and we're looking forward to talking about a lot of things going on in the sickle cell community today. We're going to be bringing you some things from the surveys that we put out last week and last month when we got jumped off here. But we're just going to check in with everybody. This is Brother KC saying hello to everyone. And just again, so blessed to be with you. We got Diamond Ray.
It's your boy Diamond Ray, you already know.
All right. And Shay B. Bella. What's up, baby girl?
Shay Brian Howard, yes.
All right. And oh my, Omika at the end over there. We're so happy you're with us. She's again, warrioring through.
Right. I'm good. How's everybody doing out there?
All right, and we got WDC holding it down.
Shout us out. Shout us
out.
You know that. And guys, we're so excited again about the survey that we got out this week and your responses to it, talking about family and family support in our community. It's certainly an issue that is relevant for everyone who is living with this disease. And the first survey we did on community and unity, and I got somebody working to get that survey up for me right now so that we can speak to that survey. And we want to let everybody know that we want to hear from you today. We want you guys calling in and sharing your thoughts. We're going to start taking calls at about 5:20 when we get our conversation out of the way and let you guys share what it is that you're going through and what your family support situations are like. With the first survey for unity and community, we really wanted to bring that issue to the forefront, because that is one of the issues in the forefront of our community, is the call for unity and what that looks like, and how that's represented. And we really feel that this show is a representation of that. Each and every one of us is a part of the sickle cell community. We represent everything from sickle cell trait to SS disease. We represent SC disease. We have the female perspective of what it's like to live with sickle cell disease. We have the mother's perspective. And so we really have a good representation of the community here, and we hope that the spirit that we bring to the show and the spirit of the things that we're sharing with you will also be representative of our community. Does anybody want to speak to unity in the community right now? Because, again, I'm sorry I don't have that survey up, and so we're going to just share a little bit from each of us our perspectives about unity. Because there's been, again, and I'm going to go there because I'm that kind of guy. But there's been some stuff going on in our community recently that's just been so disappointing in regards to what we look for from our community as far as unifying and really coming in together in a good spirit, a spirit that is going to be progressive and help us to grow together. And while, we never call anybody out by name or anything like that, but we can certainly speak to that spirit and say that that's not representative of what we're trying to do. And so, again, anybody want to jump in on that, feel free.
I just want to initially thank everyone for following the call and listening to the call, but more so taking the time out to fill out the survey and be a part of that, because for us it is very important that we get your input, because this show is not about the five of us. It's actually what we're bringing to our community for the, as we call it, unity and community. We want to find out what it is you guys care about, what you're dealing with, and I'm sure everyone here on this panel can relate to it. So we need your input. Without your input, how else can we join forces together to create this unity and community? Which we know it means something different to everybody, right? So we want to find out what that represents in your life, in your family. So these surveys gives us the information so we can then create more shows and kind of target conversations for our community around sickle cell. So we want to thank you for taking the time out. It was like 80-something plus or whatever.
We're up to like
120? Yeah, so it was 80-something at the meeting we had.
Like
so
that.
Thank
Over
you.
100 for sure.
Thank you for your time, and we appreciate it. So again, back to you over there.
Yeah, great. And again, guys, it is true that without your input, we're really not accomplishing what we're trying to do here, which again is to draw out the voice of our community and to be representative of that voice in everything that we do. And I'm sorry, Damon, you were going to say something.
Oh, yes. Apart from this, when I'm not part of the call, I'm also a part of No Pain in the Playroom with my partner, Omika, and that is our goal, to have unity in the community. We started back in 2011 when it was not too many other advocates doing what we do, and now there's so many other organizations and advocates out there trying to get the word out, and it's been a really good progress in seeing there's so many other people that want to share their vision and try to put sickle cell on the map. That's our mission, put sickle cell on the map and bring us all together. It's Team Sickle Cell. That's what it's about.
Yeah, and with all the good things going on in the community and all the hard work that's going on in our community, it's still obvious that, even with our first survey, that not everyone is satisfied with the unity in the community. As I recall the numbers, I think that we had a scale of 1 to 10.
Let's just get into it, because that's what we're here for, right? So Shabrion, I know you did most of the work behind the scenes, so thank you for creating these,
thank you so much.
putting our questions together.
Absolutely.
In this document.
Work too.
So the one of the questions was on the scale of 1 to 5. How important are your daily regimens of pain meds to your quality of life and comfort? That was one of the who came up with that one.
I think that was one of my questions.
That was one. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I think that was one of my
the responses. I mean, let's get right here into it.
And mine is like, it's important, but not, it's important to an extent, because I do use other remedies other than pain meds to treat my pain.
Right.
So, it can be challenging when I don't have pain meds or something like that. But for the most part, it's not a very important, part of my
Okay.
pain regimen.
Oh,
I also do other things besides using pain medicine, but I just feel like you need to test things out. Just don't go for the narcotics. See if that, ibuprofen works. See if that muscle relaxer works. You don't have to run to the ER or, you know, grab that Dilaudid or Norco right away. It, and you can use heat pain management. You can use distraction. There's so many things you can do, you know. And
okay. D-Ray?
As far as daily pain medication, I don't take pain medication daily, but there are different medications that I do take on a daily, like folic acid to help my blood flow and different things like that. There's different vitamins you can take, and I always say this is like one of my mottos: meditation over medication.
Right.
I feel like it really starts with your mind. If you can control it mentally first, just like what Omika said, distraction, then you could at least try to limit the pain that you're feeling because you're not thinking about it as much. You're not focused on it.
And for me, the reason I even brought that question forward was because of the issues that everybody here has been speaking about. I think the importance and one of the directions that our community is going to is a little bit more holistic treatment of pain. And I also want to make sure that we speak to the issue of we're talking about chronic pain issues and not necessarily acute pain issues. I mean, when you go into a crisis, you are dealing with pain on a level that, may require opiates. I mean, that's just truth, But unfortunately, those episodes can lead to chronic pain issues. And dealing with our chronic pain, there's just so many other options than just our pain medicines. And so I wanted to get that conversation out, and I think it came out beautifully amongst everyone. And just for myself, I've put a great deal of effort in reducing the number of opiates that I take in my life, because when I look at my life, I'm 57 years old. I remember my mother putting Tylenol with codeine in my applesauce when I was 5 years old.
Whatever the way to get it in, right?
Right,
Okay.
because she's trying to stop that pain.
We got a community guy right here, Shannon. Can you pass the mic? Just like
Sure.
the mic
Sickle
to
cell
Shannon.
general.
General's in the
For
building,
those
right?
of you who don't know,
So we want to, we're talking about pain and regimen, man. What do you want to speak to that about as a community?
he's
of
about to
sickle
break it
cell?
down.
Me personally, September 27th would be 6 years I haven't taken any pain medicine. Actually, I don't take any anything from the pharmaceutical. My pain regimen is marijuana every day.
All right.
Cool.
Right.
So,
All right.
all
And
right,
how
man.
is that helping you?
It helps very well. It does. It puts me in a better state than the pills did, and
Exactly.
it relieves the pain a lot better.
Cool deal, man. Thank you for saying that.
Right back.
Yeah,
All right.
excellent.
So let's get back into it. I mean, we got so much.
Yeah, again, guys, I think that, as far as that question is concerned, I think it was very well represented by everyone here.
Definitely.
That, opiates may not be the answer, and certainly not the only answer. And I just really want to come against the control that it places on your life when people say that they're taking away our opiates. And that creates fear in our community, and it creates stress, on our community, because there is a war against opiates right now. And so I just think it's, the question came from that place of wanting us to understand that, man, we got lots of things that we can do. There's no need to be afraid of losing your opiates, and we'll do the work to find something.
So we wanted to talk about family relations, right?
Mhm.
Which
Yeah.
is really why we have this show today.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have our points of view on family relationships and how we are responsible for those. For those that took the survey, the question was how active is your family with your healthcare treatment? And I think that was like the number one question. So who wants to take that one on as far as?
I'll take it on because
ahead.
it was my question.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll take it on.
Go
a
ahead.
little
Go
bit.
ahead.
I'll go ahead.
Okay. For me, I can say not that active.
Mm-hmm.
For my immediate family, as far as that goes, It's been a struggle, a very hard struggle, feeling like I'm misunderstood. People don't understand. You know, the very people who were the closest to me don't get it and don't
Right.
want to help me and don't want to come to the hospital, whatever the case is.
Right.
But I can honestly say that sometimes it's your support doesn't need to come from family. I have so many supportive friends that's always been there for me. I have, you know, other family members that are supportive and that advocate with me to, you know, teach other people about sickle cell and learn themselves more about sickle cell. So, you know, I gave it a 3 or a 4, I think.
Yeah.
So,
I know, Omika, I know you have a huge family support system with your sister. I know your sister is always with you when you're at the doctor.
Yeah.
Pull that microphone closer to you. Don't be afraid of it.
Yeah, my sister, she's awesome when it comes to me being sick, and if she can't, drive me to the hospital, then I'll get a Uber or something. But she's always on the phone with me. We're on I was about to say Snapchat, FaceTime all the time when I'm in the ER. I also wanted to piggyback off of what Shay said. I have a lot of friends that support and advocate for me, and they know what they're talking about because they have the disease. So if you can get a couple of good friends that know, what you're going through, what's going on, then you're golden. And back to the family, you just have to let them know how you feel. They're not mind readers.
Right.
They don't deal with this every day like you do.
Right.
So if you don't say anything about it, they're not going to know.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted
That's
to say
important.
that we had a conversation a couple of days ago was the impacts of the family members on you living with sickle cell and the experience of the pain and the hurt that the parents or the family members or the siblings experience, and how they may feel hopeless. So how it's challenging to be able to, for you to express to them that you're in pain and them feeling sorry or angry with themselves because they can't help you. So I mean, I think that all plays a part of those conversations. And sometimes I know you may ask someone to help you and they say no, but no is not forever. And I think sometimes you get in that mindset, well, I ain't gonna ask no more because he told me no last time, so why I can't ask them, so now who can I ask? And if your circle is small, then you're like, it's like, well, do I have a
running out of
cousin?
people.
Yeah, do I have a cousin I could call or someone? But your friends become your family. So I think that's, something to think about, how sickle cell impacts the entire family on those different levels. Another question you guys had was, let's see, where is that? Where'd it go? Oh, because I have sickle cell disease, is it important for me to advocate for sickle cell trait to my family?
I would say so, definitely. Especially not just to your family, but just to the world, because that's where it starts.
Yeah.
You gotta know that your parents have sickle cell trait, or you have sickle cell trait, or your partner has sickle cell trait. If you're trying to have a child with somebody, you gotta know. Oh, that's a very important thing to know, because what they used to say is, what you don't know won't hurt you. No, what you don't know could kill you.
Casey, I know
Yeah,
that
that
conversation
was-
is important to
yeah.
you, man. You want to speak on that?
Yeah, that was actually my question, and the reason I put that question out is because, not only is it important that we not have this disease popping up in our family again,
Randomly.
because like I said before,
Unknowingly.
my sister and I had not heard of anybody having this disease in our family. So it means that it skipped a couple of generations
Yeah.
before it showed up again.
Yeah.
And even though we have the newborn testing and everything like that, that's not a foolproof method
Yeah,
of
no, that's-
preventing these births.
Yeah.
And so, again, it's just so important that, our families are educated about sickle cell disease from that perspective. But we also, again, conversation, we were talking about the importance of, advocacy in general, and having our family with us. I mean, and how, of a community of people who with the disease of 100,000, if you just add on the parents of those 100,000 people who are blessed to still have their parents, our numbers increase to 300,000.
Right.
And then, everyone with what 3 million people with the trait,
Yeah,
if they
it's
joined
like-
our community and got in and advocate
Imagine.
with us, we could create some real change.
Imagine with all the trait carriers and then you have your siblings, and you know, so we talk about just having sickle cell disease. That community, 100,000 people. Add two more people to that equation. That's 300,000 people.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on, why? Where's the
Yeah.
disconnect? You know,
Yeah.
and I think it affects. We talk about the family, which is this question was: do you feel that your disease puts a strain on the dynamic of your family? And so I had a guest earlier. You know, do you guys sometimes feel it's a burden? Shannon, give the mic to Shannon, because me and Shannon talked about being a burden on your family, man.
I can recall.
You got to speak into the mic, man.
I can recall when I was younger, I had a conversation with my mom, and she felt she blamed herself for, you know what I'm saying, me having sickle cell, you know what I'm saying, and I always felt bad, you know, and throughout you know my crisis as an adult, I always shied away from involving them
Yeah.
because I already knew the burden, you know, weighed on them. I'm just blessed and grateful I have a wife that, you know, went through it all with me.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was all the support system I need.
So I want to counter that answer until like who felt like they was a burden, but then got past the burden feeling.
You know, actually, yeah, I'm kind of like flip-flopped a little bit because my mother was always with me at the hospital when I was younger. And I had to grow up to that point where I could see it was actually affecting her, you know, being in the hospital with me. And she's working 2 jobs and, you know, doing that mom stuff that incredible women do. And I actually said, Mom, you know what? I got this. You know, I don't need you to keep trying to push to be here with me when I'm in the
Right.
hospital. You know, I've learned about the disease. I can advocate for myself. And that is a maturing process and something that, you know, takes place in a lot of places. But I never was... I don't think
So
I was
you had
ever
the
made to
support.
feel like I was
A burden, yeah.
It was just love, you know.
Shay Brian?
On my behalf, my mother was diagnosed with sickle cell. So when I was younger, I didn't understand what was going on like she did. So when I would have sickle cell crisis, pain crisis, I remember one time I was supposed to go to Disneyland for my birthday, and I got sick. I couldn't even get out of bed. And she, just the look on her face, you know, it really, I still remember it. Like, it really rocked me because it felt, it was like a look of guilt. Like, she felt like she did it to me. Like, and it it always bothered me, and to the point where I didn't want to tell her when I was in pain sometimes because I didn't want to see that look. You know?
So you avoided that look.
Yeah.
That one look, that one day.
Yeah.
You avoided that from now on.
I mean,
I'm gonna
unless
tell you.
I couldn't, you know, then
Yeah.
it was just really no way I could. But
Right.
yeah, for the most part, I just was like, I'm cool, I'm okay, you know, I'm fine. Limping around, like, what's wrong then? Oh, I just hurt it, man. You know, I was running, and I hurt my ankle. But yeah, it's, you know, it's hard, and, you know, to feel like a burden is very easy with this disease.
Yeah.
And it does disrupt, you know, your family dynamics. It
Of
could
course.
be lots of stuff going on or whatever, and then boom, you're sick. So you got to go and tell someone, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot to deal with.
Yeah. So those of you that took that survey for this week, we definitely appreciate you for taking the time out. We're going to have another one coming out soon, so we want you to make sure you participate in that. Shay Brown, what was the purpose of this week's survey? Like, what do we want to pull out of the community to find out?
We want to find out, you know, what people are really thinking. You know, what we want to be. We want to help create their voice, and, you know, create change, and let's work on family dynamics, and let's work on getting that support from the family members that are being supportive so that we can, you know, make progress.
Yeah.
So.
And if I could speak to that, I also think that it's important for us to present to the community what their voice is, because when you respond to this survey and then we share with you the responses that you put in, it shows what you guys are feeling. You know, I mean, again, it's very easy to feel like an individual in this disease, and so this gives us a perspective of the community. And when you guys respond, I mean, I just look at one of the responses on the questions. Do your family members and friends escort you to hospital visits? That was pretty much 30% less than half of the time, 26% half of the time, 19% not at all,
Yeah.
24% all the time. And so it shows how diverse the experience is.
Yeah.
You know, and it gives us a better picture of our community. I mean, just as the conversations and experiences here on the table are very diverse,
Yeah.
it's represented just like that in the community. And
We're going to share those percentages at the, at some point next week. We're going to let them know what the subjects,
Definitely.
how they came out, so we can continue this conversation, because this is just not a
Right.
one-shot deal here. We're definitely,
Yeah.
we got to find out what this unity is. We know what it means to us here on the call, but what it actually means to you out there as in our community around sickle cell.
I'm sure I would fit in there sometimes, with my family, we only have the one car, so I can't, sometimes I can't always ask my family and my mom.
Yeah.
She has to go to work, so we have to figure out, I better not get sick when she have to go to work.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have time to be taken off of work to take you to the hospital. Johnny.
One of them moms,
Yeah, like, and it's conversations like that kind of make me feel like, well, what do I?
Right.
I don't really have control over this.
Right.
Right.
But yeah, but my sisters are really there for me. Not to say that my mom is not there for me, but I just know I better not get sick when she got to go to work.
Yeah. I appreciate Shay Brown. We was on our private meeting here, on the phone, and you mentioned, like, if I have to search through one of my cousins to get connected to bridge that gap, so I can have someone.
Right.
Like
it's about, building the bridge.
But my thing is, like, what kind of person do you have to be able to ask someone to get past that previous no? Like, you have to be a certain kind of person. You have to be vulnerable again.
Right.
To be able to say, hey, man, I need some help. Can
It's
you go with me?
pride.
Pride. There you go. So that's what's in the way.
Yeah, it's pride.
So
and
pride,
like I
ego
said,
gets in the way.
yeah,
It takes humility.
Right?
You got to
Yeah.
be humble. You have to
we-
humble yourself
and
enough to say, I need help. I can't do this alone.
Exactly.
Regardless of how strong and independent of a person you are. I'm a very strong, independent person. But when sickle cell comes, honey,
Man.
there ain't nothing I can do about
gotta
it.
have
And
somebody.
that,
that
that pride
pain.
could be a
Weak point.
hindrance.
It
that
can.
pride
It
could
will.
definitely just knock
Yeah.
you down and make you feel like, oh, I'm big. Of course you want to say, no, I'm bigger than this. I am not going to go to the hospital, or I'm not going to ask for help. But that could be your downfall.
It can. It very well can.
Yeah, one of the big things is with the treatment of this disease is so important that we hit all of the numbers on it, and getting to the hospital, getting that pain under control is so important. And so when we use these reasons like don't want to be a burden and things like that to not get the type of treatment, it's going to cost us in the long run.
Yeah, it's going to
in
be
danger.
impacting your own
Yeah,
health.
it's
Right.
impacting our health down the road. And so
You have that crisis, and your insides is being attacked.
Yes.
And you have no idea if that's going to be the one
Right.
crisis.
The
The
one.
one.
The
Yeah.
call.
Or the
The
real call, right?
Real call, for real.
So again, what do we want to express to the community around this survey for them to be prepared for what's coming for next week? Are we going to, continue this same questionnaire? Are we going to create another one, or what's the?
I think that it would be. This subject is just so deep. I mean, there's just so many different ways. And again, when we talk about building bridges to healing the things in our community and our families that keep us from getting the support that we need. I mean, that could be a whole show right there.
Yeah.
And then when we talk about the advocacy aspect of the power of having our family on board with us, and how we can bring that power to bear on the specific issues that are addressing our community. I mean, that could be a whole nother show itself.
Yeah. I
And
mean, each
so-
question is a conversation
Yeah,
It
right.
is.
that
It
we can have
definitely
for an
is.
hour,
Conversation.
Yeah.
And,
just to shift one
so-
one
And-
question.
I would say expect more talk about family and
Right.
support systems
Yeah,
coming
sure.
up at least next week and maybe a couple shows after that. We have Sickle Cell Awareness Month coming up.
September.
Yes, we do.
We got siblings that we're gonna get involved with this
Right, we're gonna
conversation.
bring
We
our
got family
siblings
members.
in.
We got
Right,
moms and dads, and
right.
like I said,
Do we also have significant others?
that's right.
Oh, my
Significant
goodness,
others
yes.
that help manage
Well,
this.
I'm out of that one.
There you go.
Kind of hating that too, but
I'll speak to that for sure.
So again, these questions that you filled out the survey is very important. How active is your family with your healthcare treatment? I mean, that is like, they've got to be involved.
They have to be.
Yeah.
It's
And,
it's important to have your family involved because that's who you know, that's who you're closest to, and if they don't support you, then
You're
you
gonna feel
might,
like you're by yourself.
yeah,
Yeah, and
you
when you
might feel
feel
some type of way.
right, and it's easy to I'm gonna be real honest right now. It's easy to want to die when you feel like you don't have nobody in your corner to feel like, what are you here for?
So the fear of death is always like right there.
Yes, always a
Always.
fear of death, but you know, when you feel like you have no one there for you, no support, no nothing,
Yeah.
it's easy to say, well, I should just go. Like, I should just stop fighting and just let go because
Yeah.
what am I still here for, you know? And that's the wrong answer because everybody is here for a reason. And
Yeah.
whatever that reason is, you know, you still got to look past yourself, look outside yourself, be humble enough to say, I love my family, and regardless of any situation, we're gonna try to, you know, work through it. So
So that's one of the things Shannon and I was talking about coming in, as far as, you know, us being responsible for our families being educated about sickle cell trait. So we talk
Absolutely.
about, Casey, you mentioned your question. Is
Yeah.
it important for talk about sickle cell? I mean, Shannon, we mentioned that
Right.
we feel it's part of our community's responsibility to advocate for our family and educate our families. What,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely do. People need to understand, like you guys were talking about before, does sickle cell trait and sickle cell have anything to do together? So definitely, the biggest problem in our community with that is not being educated about it.
ourselves,
Right.
right?
So that's what got me out of that whole world, got me out of the addiction to the pills, got me focus was, you know what I'm saying, educating myself, and that's why I got wrapped into that because I wasn't educated about sickle cell.
Yeah, cool deal.
Right.
Appreciate that.
So next week,
Yeah.
hindrances and ways to overcome them to our support systems. What's keeping us from having that support system? What's keeping us from getting our family involved?
Yeah.
What type of hindrances do we have? What kind of hindrances are our community experiencing? We want to hear from you guys. Again, guys, get with us on Twitter. Somebody shout out the Twitter.
The call SCD.
The Call SCD Twitter at the Call SCD Twitter. Okay, you can hit us on the Call. This is the Call Facebook page.
You
We're
know,
currently live right now.
You know, we talked about the family right, and they say that, you know, in Africa where, you know, we're number one at, how when the men would find out that that they had a baby with sickle cell disease, that they would abandon the family. Like they would literally say, I don't have that, and would leave the parents left with the babies to deal with living with sickle cell. So it's not just a United States issue.
No.
This is
It's
a
a worldwide
worldwide
issue.
conversation
Right.
because of the impacts of the how can I provide, you know, produce a child with a disease.
And I like to just add to that, in India, they view sickle cell as a curse, you know, upon the family.
Exactly.
Right.
So there's different views of it. I mean, we could go all day.
And
with
I think
the
there's
topics.
also an ignorance still here in the United States. I met a woman that was telling me that her son had sickle cell, and I was asking, well, do you know, is it sickle cell in your family? Do you have sickle cell trait? She was saying, no, that ain't nowhere in my family. I'm like, it got to be somewhere in your family.
it's somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
So she wasn't trying to hear it, huh?
Yeah.
Right. But no, there is a real stigma in the African American community. Always has been, as you know, really on the down low. But that's one of those things that education and our advocacy is going to need to come against. And so
We're gonna take
I
that.
was
we're
just
gonna
gonna
bring it.
say we were at the symposium and it was a little girl, I think her name was Sophie, and she was Caucasian, and her mother was saying how they were discriminated against in the ER, like you don't have sickle cell, you just want to get drugs for your daughter and yourself, and I was like, are you kidding me?
I have
Exactly.
a Latino friend that went through that same thing. She has
Absolutely.
full on
Yeah.
sickle cell trait. She has sickle cell trait, but she still has the symptoms of feeling it. And when
Right.
she goes into the hospital, they're like, we're not going to treat you for sickle cell. You don't have sickle cell trait.
No, she had full-blown sickle cell.
Yeah.
That's the Sickle Cell 101
Yeah.
girl.
So make sure you check us out on the social medias and follow us, and make sure you listen up for the next week's episode that we're going to talk about. So stay tuned for those posts coming out. Again, thank you everybody for coming out, being a part of the
Thank
show.
you,
today.
everybody.
And
Thank you
awesome,
all.
guys.
You got
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you for doing
All
the
right.
survey.
Yeah, thank you again. That's very
Right.
important.
And let us know where you guys are at out there. Hit us up. Let us know where you're at, what you guys want to hear about, what's really on your hearts and souls. And again, thanks for tuning in.
All right.
We want to thank
We're
our
calling you out.
We're calling
Sickle
you out.
cell warriors, leaders, doctors, and caregivers.
This is the call.
Tune in to the call Saturdays at 5 p.m. Pacific, only on LA Talk Live.
This is the call.
To sickle cell trait awareness.
This is the call.
To acceptance of yourself and others around you.
This is the call.
To finding your purpose through creativity.
This is the call.
To living above sickle cell.
This is the call to unity in community.
So call in 323-473-3100 to
The call.
Saturdays 5 p.m. Pacific, only on LA Talk Live.
This is the call.
Yeah. Calling all warriors and troopers that's willing to step up and accept the challenge. Just got a question. Who's down to answer the call? We need to answer the call. Right? You down to answer the call? Right? I'm down to answer the call. We need some starters. Yo, we need some thinkers. Yo, as largest in charge. Yo, we doing it major. Yo, who's down to answer the call? We down to answer the call. Putting our foot down on the neck of the devil, right? Our mentalities is to never get settled, right? So who's with us to take it to the next level? Take off on go mode like all gas, no brake pedal. Taking over city to city, going from state to state, invading the whole planet from the Pacific to Atlantic. We official, not artificial, pure and organic. Feeding you that manna, no manifest of that milk dress. Let's take SC out of sickle, turn the cell into well. Drop KLE out of ickle, add it with pasta for yum. Now what that spells? Say it. I'm well. How you
Radio
feeling?
handcrafted for your listening pleasure. You're tuned in to LA Talk Live, where we're more than just talk.